Welcome to the Adventures in Alchemy podcast, where we share tips, techniques, and true stories to support you in using the law of attraction and alchemy to create magic and live the life of your dreams. Here's your host, the founder of dailyalchemy.com, Michelle Martin Dobbins.
Hey there, it's Michelle Martin Dobbins from dailyalchemy.com. And today I want to talk to you about mirrors. Yes, mirror on the wall. I have noticed and been told actually too, but I've been noticing a lot of things in my life mirroring to me. Several years back, I went and met with an intuitive, and she told me that my husband and I were mirrors to each other, which makes sense. It happens in almost every close relationship that, we send out things like, okay, and to explain what I'm talking about, I'm actually going to dive into a current thing that happened with my husband, then I'll go on to some other things. But I got really upset with him for the silliest of things, and that's kind of my judgment. But we were going somewhere as a family, and we didn't have enough gas. My vehicle is the one that holds the whole family. So I ended up, we were stopping. He's like, oh, you didn't put gas in the car. So we stopped to get some. And it was kind of this thing between us of like, who's going to put gas in the car? And I'm like, I'll do it. He's like, no, it's fine. I will do it. And so he put gas in the car and we left. And then I realized that he put like a quarter of a tank, which isn't going to last me very long. And so I was just frustrated. I was like, that's, not really kind. If you're going to put gas in it, fill it up. Because for me, that taking that time when I'm driving kids to school and all these little places, every time I fill it up, I want it full because, time here. And, I know like in my heart of hearts that this is a silly thing to get upset about, right? But my brain was just going, it's just not very kind. It's not kind. And why isn't he being kind to me? Why isn't he being kind to me? And then it hit me. Am I being kind to me lately? What's going on with me am I being kind to me? And no, not so much. I've been going through a lot of stuff the past few months and realized that, I wasn't taking good care of myself. I wasn't drinking enough water. I wasn't eating enough healthy food. I wasn't taking time for myself. There's so many little things that I could have done that would have been kind to myself. And I've often found that like if something really tweaks me and just gets me going, then there's usually a much deeper reason. And the deeper reason is usually because if I'm upset that someone's not respecting me, guess what? I'm usually not respecting myself. If I'm upset because I think someone's being mean to me, I'm usually being mean to myself. This happens to me all the time. In fact, I kind of use it as like a little oracle of like, how am I doing in the world? And you can say that things are random, and maybe they are, but our reactions to them are not. And synchronicity is such a big thing in my life, but I have noticed that, when I am treating myself nicely and when I'm, kind of more linked up with my higher self, I'm doing my meditation, I'm taking care of my body, I'm taking care of my brain, I'm taking care of my soul, my spirit, then the checkout guy at the grocery store is usually really nice. You know what I'm saying? And even if I get that cranky one, I'll enjoy the process of making them smile, trying to make them smile, trying to make their day better, lightening them up instead of getting triggered myself. And that's what I mean by like, maybe it's random. Maybe it doesn't matter, what other people might just mirror to me, whatever. But the thing is, what it triggers in me is not random. So I happen to find that when I'm in a good mood, I most often encounter other people in a good mood. It's just synchronicity, like attracts like. And like I say, when I don't, I usually try to find a lighthearted way to raise their vibration and make them feel better for me encountering them. But when I'm not in that, and when I am not treating myself the best, and I'm not feeling vibrationally lined up, shall we say, I'm on the lower end of the spectrum, then pretty much anybody I come in contact with can trigger me and be, And so I try to be aware of that, because I noticed in the past few weeks that there were all these mirrors out there, all these people, like, here I am thinking my husband's not being kind, having some issues with some neighbors, and feeling like I was being judged. And it was interesting, because then I'm like, oh, well, how am I being judgmental to myself? And when I work on what I am doing, then those situations seem to shift. And it was like, sometimes it happens really fast, actually, in the case of the gas situation. I'm honestly not sure if it was that same day or another day, but like, I wasn't feeling good. I had a headache, and, I was like, I'm okay, but I was just kind of, my husband was driving, which, by the way, I'm sitting there saying he's not being kind to me. I'm a person who doesn't enjoy driving. And so 99% seriously time when we go somewhere, my husband drives, and that includes long, long trips. So there's a different story right there of kindness. But he stopped and pulled over, went to a gas station, and got me a bottle of water and some Advil. So a little kindness, not even asked for, but he knew that I was hurting and we didn't have anything. And I rarely take those kinds of pain pills, but I didn't have any lavender or any essential oils with me. So, but the thing was, when I shifted in my brain and thought, what can I do to be kind to me? Then immediately he did something to be kind to me, which was just mind-boggling. And I find the same things, like if I'm thinking someone is judging me, if I sit down and, spend some time thinking about where I'm judging myself and how I can let go of those judgments, then everything seems to shift really quickly in those outside relationships, encounters, however you want to term it. The thing is, I'll bring it up. The law of attraction is, you can't do it because you want that to happen. Like, I can't say, I'm going to be kind to me because I want my husband to be kind to me. Have to be kind to me because I know it's the right thing. And when I shift like that, more than likely the other person is going to shift too. But they may not. And that has to be okay too. And the funny thing is, whether or not they shift their behavior, my interpretation of their behavior, my upset over their behavior will shift. And ultimately, that is the most important thing in having a joyful life. So I would have you think about something in your life that upsets you or triggers you, and think of it as a mirror. And what is it trying to show you in your own life and your own relationship with yourself? And I say this not to say that you're responsible for the other person's behavior. They're still responsible for their behavior, and there's still consequences to their behavior. But when it really triggers you, when it really, really causes you some pain and some indignation, then you get to do that work to transform those feelings. Look at that. Look at what they're showing you, because it's a gift. It might not be your favorite gift, but it's a gift that helps you to transform personally and grow as a person and discover the gold in your life, which is what alchemy is all about. Getting down to your true self, because I believe that we are all, our true selves are already ascended masters, as you will. And we are here in this life as these spiritual beings, and it's all covered up with all kinds of junk and conditioning and treatments and beliefs and stories. And our job is to get to the core. So when somebody triggers you, somebody makes you feel bad, they're giving you a gift. They're saying, oh, go look, what is this about? And that being said, obviously, if somebody assaults you or what have you, that's, it's still a crime. And, it's definitely not okay. But look at what you can learn from it. And hopefully your mirroring will be in much lower levels like mine. Just somebody says something or does something that is tiny but triggers you nonetheless. And I'm not sure if I want to say this, but I'm going to go ahead and say this. I'm going into the year of the warrior, so I shall be brave. No matter what your take on politics, a lot of us are being triggered by it right now, right? And this is not to say that you should stand up for what you believe in. And this is not, to say anything like that. I highly believe that politics are going to be better. Our whole country is going to be better the more people get involved and the more people share and reach out and connect with each other. And, we're not all going to believe the same things, and that's fine. I mean, it makes for more diversity and more interesting lives. Sometimes we think it would be better if we didn't, but it's not. It's diversity and having different people and different viewpoints. It's good for all of us. It helps us grow. But if you are being triggered and you are having a lot of pain from politics, and that's not to say that anything is bad or good. I mean, there may be some things that are happening that are horrible that you need to prevent. But you can also use this as growth for yourself. I'm trying to think of an example. Maybe you find politics unfair and you're feeling this huge sense of injustice around some area of it. Well, take some time and think about, are you being unfair to yourself? Is there an injustice in the way you treat yourself? Everything can be a mirror. And if politics do not trigger you, do not really upset you, then it's probably not a mirror for you. But I bring it up simply because a lot of people are being really, really triggered right now by it. And I think it's a good thing because I think it's bringing awareness it's bringing a mirror to a lot of us to how we treat ourselves. And it's also, bringing a larger awareness to how we all need to be involved and, work together to create a society that we want to live in. So I'm going to get off that topic now. Even though it's the year of the warrior, I don't want to, here's my person, I don't want to stir up conflict. But I do want you to think about, just from the little things like a clerk in a store or a person on the street or your friend or your teacher or your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your spouse. If they do something that makes you feel bad, then look at it. And if something that you see in the news, be it politics or be it the news, that really, really triggers you, look at it. Because I'm not saying that is not important in and of itself, but I'm saying if it reaches into a deep part of you and causes you this deep pain, and, let's be honest, there are things that are going to cause a lot of people deep pain and for good reason, because they're horrible things. But I still feel like there's always a gift, always something for us to look at, that the whole world is a mirror for us. And two things that it kind of reminds me of. One is, I may butcher the pronunciation, but it's the Ho'oponopono. I'm going to write it down in there because it's like a tongue twister for me. I know Joe Vitale, and he wrote a book with one of the Hawaiian doctors who does this practice. And it's one of the big tenets, and I'll put a link to the book and put the correct spelling in the show notes because I am so bad at pronouncing that word. But one of the big tenets of this basically healing technique is that if you know about something, then you're on some level responsible for healing it. You may not necessarily be responsible for creating it, but if you're aware of it, then you're responsible for healing it. And not solely, but you're responsible for doing your part. Like, it's kind of like if you know that, this person was hurt, then you need to do this healing work because you're aware of it. Your awareness of it makes you part of it. And yeah, like when I started reading that, I was like, whoa, that's pretty deep. But, and that's not necessarily saying that, you're going to go somewhere across the world and make changes. You might just sit and do Reiki, and you might send money, and you might do Ho'oponopono. So bad with that word. And that is a practice of just repeating certain phrases. I believe they are, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, and thank you. And, there are a lot of things that you can do, some more esoteric and non-physical, which are important, and some more physical, like sending money or actually going and volunteering and helping. But when the world mirrors something to you, you get to work on healing it, and you get to work on healing yourself and healing it. So it's a win-win, and it may not feel that way all the time, but it truly is because it leads us back closer to being more of who we really are. And speaking of that, another practice that I just quickly want to mention before I close out this episode is Byron Katie's The Work. Because if you just go and search her, but everything that is happening to you from somebody else has a turnaround. And I didn't even think of this as a mirroring having to do with this until I started talking to you guys today. But I've found it very powerful work to do. There's worksheets that are free that just ask these simple questions about, and a lot of them is like, when you get to that question, like with my husband, he's like, why is he mean to me? The answer, the turnaround could be, why am I mean to me? Or why am I mean to him? And yeah, both of those could have some stuff. Like, why do I expect him to fill my car up with gas? I mean, he drives all the time, And then there's the, why am I being mean to me? Why am I not taking good care of me? Why am I not drinking enough water? Why am I not eating the right foods? So I hope this is helpful to you. And I would recommend just taking a look. Keep a notebook. If you keep a journal, when somebody triggers you or somebody or some event triggers you, write it down and ask yourself, like, how could this be a mirror for me? And then you may want to head on over to Byron Katie's website. And I'm not sure, but I'm guessing maybe byronkatie.com, or just Google her name and you'll find it. Actually, I'll put a link to in the show notes. If I can remember all these links, guys, I'm really bad at remembering links, but I'm going to try to put Byron Katie's and Ho'oponopono, because those are some really good tools for dealing what you see mirrored to you and just uncovering what's really going on. So I would love to hear what you see and what is being mirrored to you, and how it helps you grow and transform. So feel free to shout out to me. I am Michelle Martin Dobbins at dailyalchemy.com. And if you go to dailyalchemy.com, you can find email links, Facebook, Twitter, all that stuff. I am checking them less this year, but I am checking them. And I will always try to respond. All right. Have a magical day. Go out and create something wonderful. Namaste and big hugs. Would you like some help creating more magic in your life? I've got a ton of freebies and goodies for you. They're all tucked away inside my magical freebie vault. You can get free access, though. You just have to go to www.dailyalchemy.com/magical-freebie-vault. Again, that's dailyalchemy.com/magical-freebie-vault. And when you get there, you can just plug in your name and email and you will get instant access to all kinds of goodies. There are daily and weekly manifesting planners, the How to Shift Your Vibe in 5 Minutes e-kit that has audios and a workbook. There are moon manifesting planners and daily love lists and money trackers and all kinds of goodies right there. I didn't want to make you have to go to a bunch of different pages and sites and wait for certain freebies to come out. So I just took all of my freebies and put them in one place where you could just sign up one time and download any of them that you want at any time that you needed. So you can just head on over to dailyalchemy.com/magical-freebie-vault and download them today. Have a magical day.
Thanks for listening to the Adventures in Alchemy podcast. Connect with me on thedailyalchemy.com or Facebook at facebook.com/Michelle Dobbins author. Join us next time for even more magical life tips.